Today's episode is brought to you by Shenanigan Loopholes. When things aren't going your way, call for a loophole. Our trained shenanigan experts will find every way for you to avoid the consequences you justly deserve. Skill restrictions, we've got a loophole. Out of health, there are loopholes to keep you alive. There is no game we can't enact shenanigans in. That's Shenanigan Loopholes, available in any genre.
Shenanigan Loopholes, not responsible for breakdown of friendships due to the use of our products.
This is the Misdirected Mark Podcast, a podcast about gaming, game mastering, and entertaining you, our listeners. We are explicit, you have been warned, and I'd like to thank Mike Willard for letting us use his music on our show. Now let's pick up those mics and get on with this thing.
And welcome to the 490th episode of the Misdirected Mark Podcast. Tonight we discuss clocks and fronts in your tabletop role-playing games. But first, my name is Jerry.
My name is Phil.
Chris.
And I am Old Man Logan. Welcome to the shoe.
Hey, man, episode 500 is coming.
Yeah.
Screaming towards us headlong.
Episode 500 is coming. By the way, if you would like to be a part of episode 500 and you're part of our Slack channel, you can I'll have a message in there and that you can reply to, and we'll work out a way to get you on the show, which we'll be doing some tests of that in the coming weeks on Tuesday evenings at between like 7 and 10. So if you are interested in coming on and talking to us through a Zoom call, this is not going to be a live show, but we will be here to chat with you. If you want to come talk to us about your experience with Misdirected Mark over the course of a decade, feel free to do so. And do we have any other announcements?
That's it, man. That's the big thing. I mean, we have some other things to do, like to talk about, but we'll talk about them at 500.
Yeah, absolutely.
Post 500 is what we...
Post 500 is going to be very different.
Mm-hmm.
It's called MM Plays. There's a post on the Patreon. The Slack room has heard all about it. It'll be it's not an actual play series. It's just sort of, it's like somewhere in between actual play and what we normally do.
Is it MM Plays or is it Plays?
Plays. And you can say whatever way you want. I'll just leave it to your interpretation.
Hands in this thing up.
Some blue.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Mbop.
Is that what it was?
Was it Mbop? How did you make it through the 90s and not know, like...
I didn't know what you guys were talking about. Like, the parody that you were doing did not click in my head. Okay. I know the tune, obviously.
Right, I was going to say...
I just sang it.
I was going to say, it's impossible to escape the 90s without having imprinted that song on you.
All right. Are we done with this? We need... Are
you done?
You know what we don't have? We don't have the garage bumper, which is a mistake. That's okay. I'll put it in later.
It's push the keypad. Boop, 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 boop. And then
not that kind of garage.
Our garage is way more sophisticated than that.
Yeah, it's way high tech.
Yeah.
It
was just an electronic keypad.
Yeah.
Access granted.
Garage, clocks and fronts, we're here.
Yes. As we close in on episode 500, I picked tonight's topic for two reasons. The first is I think that clocks are a super cool mechanic, and they're usable in a ton of games, whether your game has clocks in it or not. The second is that this is a garage episode, which was actually my contribution to the House Misdirected. I created the garage as a place where we could talk about game mechanics because it was something that Chris and I did before I was a host on the show. When we used to just hang out, we would talk about game mechanics.
I love talking about game mechanics.
Yeah. And so we wanted to translate that into something we could do on the show. So we created a new room in the house, which was the garage, because that's where mechanics hang out, in the garage.
In the garage.
Yeah.
In terms of when we wrote this original episode, harken back to the year 2016 when we were deep into playing PBTA games. Like we were all up in PBTA games. It would actually be another year before Blades in the Dark was released. I'm pretty sure Blades in the Dark was a 2017 release. So all of our talk about clocks in this episode predates Blades.
Why have we been doing this for so long?
Right.
That was like 6 years ago.
Because reasons.
Yeah, and that's not even like early on. Like
that's mid MMP.
That's mid MMP, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So tonight we are going to revisit. So this is a Redux episode. We're going to revisit the Clocks and Fronts episode and pull in everything we learned from Forged in the Dark games as well, because we have learned a lot more about clocks since that game.
So much more.
So much more.
Yeah.
All right, since Phil just did a whole bunch of talking, we're going to let Chris and Jerry do the definitions. But first, we still need to play the kick-ass bumper.
Behold! You are in the presence of Definition Panda.
All right, let's talk about how they work. So, first thing, countdown clock. A countdown clock is an in-game timer that is tracking time passing towards some event, often represented by a circle with some number of ticks or wedges. Players may be aware of this clock or not.
The second thing we're going to talk about are fronts. These come from Apocalypse World. A front is a set of linked threats. Threats are people, places, and conditions that, because of where they are and what they're doing, inevitably threaten the player's characters. So, a front is all the individual threats that arise from a single given threatening situation.
Yeah, we know which one of these like carried further in terms of overall game design. Like,
well, countdown clocks, because they're a thing that you can just draw, right?
Yeah.
Like fronts are GM centric. They don't, players never get to view them. So of course, the countdown clock is always going to be more prevalent than the front, which is very important too.
yeah.
Yes.
So when we talk about this tonight, we are still going to talk about fronts because that's what was in the original episode, but know that clocks are like the thing that really stood the test of time when it comes to game design.
Look, all a front is a fractaled out clock.
Yeah, you are not wrong.
And I think that clocks are easier to implement in the games that don't already have them.
Sure. Yeah. I use fronts all the time. So I don't know.
I use clocks everywhere. I love clocks.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I just haven't thought about it because I use fronts. I've been using fronts for forever.
So games that use them when it comes to clocks, since we've refreshed this episode, Blades in the Dark, man.
That's a good pun.
Blades in the Dark.
Refresh.
Blades uses progress clocks. They are represented by a circle divided into a number of segments. There are 4, 6, and 8 segment clocks representing the complexity of a problem or how long until something manifests. Right. So
Baz, the sick of your shit.
right. So a four tick clock actually will go faster than an 8 tick clock. I think that just makes that makes sense. So the game employs clocks for damn near everything. Danger, racing, linked clocks, mission, tug of war, long-term projects, and faction clocks are all part of the game.
Stress too.
Yes, thank you. Stress as well. All clocks have basically the same function, right? There's something at stake that is set for the completion of the clock. The GM assigns a number of segments. The result, the effect of various action rolls will fill in a number of ticks into the clock. When the clock is filled, that stake becomes manifest. How does it fit into the overall frame of the game? So Forged in the Dark games are always about impending trouble, and clocks are a great way to model impending trouble.
Baz is sick of your shit.
Yeah, that's my example, right? From
We've been using this example for 7 years.
I have
6
And
years.
for
5
newer
years.
people. For newer people who don't know the example, when I was running Blades in the Dark, in the opening adventure, Tony's character was messing with the head of one of the crime families, Baz, and was trying to negotiate up the cost for a job. Like, you guys were nobodies, and Tony's like trying to squeeze him for more money. And I was like, cool, make a roll. And Tony failed the roll. And I was like, cool, I'm making a clock that's called Baz is sick of your shit. 6 ticks. And I'm filling in 2 of them right now. And when this clock fills up, Baz is going to get rid of you. And eventually it filled up. Like, I'm pretty sure that at some point,
It came to a head, yeah.
at some point he put a hit out on Tony because he was just sick of Tony's shit. And for the rest of the campaign, that card stayed out on the table. And from time to time, like if he was messing with their crew or whatever, I would just reach over and color in another tick. Like, it's going to happen, Tony.
So was the resolution that Baz got Tony, or did Tony eventually do away with Baz?
I think, if I remember correctly, he took a shot at Tony. Tony survived it. But then I think that gang got like fucked up. Like something happened to that gang and a bunch of
I think we orchestrated a 3-way between us and 2 other gangs. I know. I did that on purpose.
It's okay in a 3-way.
Oh, Jesus. All right.
Very purposeful reasoning behind it.
Look, okay, we used the example of Baz
Yes.
sick of your shit. Like,
That's
that was a
fine.
long-term clock. There
Yeah.
were short-term clocks. When we used to play Scum and Villainy, a lot of the opponents that the guys would fight had clocks as their health pools. And when the clock was filled up, they had they had defeated those people or won the encounter, stole the thing, made their way through whatever situation they were making their way through. Clocks are like infinitely usable.
clocks are so infinitely usable that I, to this day, have an indelible mark on Blades in the Dark. I made a set of PDFs a while ago of Blades in the Dark clock cards that has the Blades guy, the guy from the, the guy, like they use it on the cover of the book.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So I have that faded in the background and I have the clocks and I put them up on Google Drive. And I still, to this day, every now and then will get a request for somebody asking to share those files on Google Drive and just, click it and let people take them. But I had them laminated and, could write on a marker and then fill them in and throw them on the table, pick them up, clean them off, that kind of thing.
I used to use your PDF cards. Like, I used to just cut the clocks out of them and put them on Roll20 for our games.
Oh, yeah, that's
And then I
good.
would fill them in.
Yeah, nice. Neato.
Cool.
That's how I kept track of the long-term projects too.
Yeah. All right, what's the next one, Chris?
Fronts from Dungeon World. Pick a game that has fronts. Fronts are just giant clocks, okay? So there are 2 types of fronts originally. There are campaign or adventure fronts. Now, the idea is that you create 2 or 3 dangers. Now, these dangers were things that wanted to do something to cause trouble or make changes to the setting. And that's essentially what they were. They were clocks to make changes to the setting. Same deal is what we've stated already. There is a stake. They're trying to get to it, and then they're going to do a thing. You choose an impending doom for each danger. When they get through their clock, that thing happens. That's what it is. Those are the stakes. They use a clever name for stakes, essentially, and then the manifesting of the stakes, which you already said before. That's the thing that changes the world in a significant way, usually for the worse. Now, Grim Portents, usually you get 1 to 3 for an adventure front back in the day, or 3 to 5 for a campaign front. Those were the things that would happen along the way that would warn the player characters that these things were about to happen, so that the player characters would have an option to take action against them. This is a cool way to have a living world where, like, look, there is stuff happening in the background. If you don't go deal with it, it's probably going to manifest and do something terrible. That was fun. I actually thought that was a great idea back in the day when I originally realized, I'm like, oh, look, that's neat. Like, this is a way to not just have linear storytelling, right?
I thought you utilized them wonderfully when we played the Airy Peaks.
Constantly use them. Then you write some stake questions. That way you have a way to play to find out what happens. Like, what will happen if they don't deal with this? And then write the answer. These are not for the players. These are for you as a game master. Then you get to list the general cast of the front. These are basically the faction or the elements that help you play to find out what happens. They're the pieces that you can utilize to play the game. For instance, when we were playing in the Alvar campaign for our D&D game, I used a front. It was Tanaril. Tanaril was slowly taking over the dwarf people, turning them into soldiers, these onyx skin soldiers, through mind control, and then, changing them, polymorphing them essentially with these onyx skins. Then he was starting to take over the tiefling people, and then he was going to go after the deep gnomes and basically expand his empire. And if they didn't go and deal with it, that would have happened. I had fronts written. If they didn't go out there to deal with it, there was a thing that said Alvar falls, and Alvar would have fallen, and Bob's people would have all been mostly dead, except for like his little sister, who would have gotten away and then came to find him. So how does this stuff tie into the theme of the game? Well, as we just discussed, I just gave you an example for how to use this in D&D. This stuff is universal. It's not any different from either like any Powered by the Apocalypse game. It's just an ideology. You just skin it for different stuff. Anybody else have any fronts or things like that they've ever used in their games that they want to talk about? No? Yes, maybe?
I definitely had them for PBTA games. I'm trying to remember some of them off the top of my head, but the thing that I remember that I really liked is the Grim Portents. I really like here are the signs that this shit is escalating.
Yes.
Because they're, 1, fun to write, and 2, it's kind of cool in a PBTA game, because in Dungeon World, if I remember correctly, you brought one of those out during a hard move.
You could. Yeah, you could. Or you could just, if it was an adventure one, yes. It was either a hard move or you just made it happen when time advancing was a way to make a move.
In Dangerous Space Jail, there's essentially a front that the 2 bad guys are going to escape.
Yes.
And there's a whole bunch of Grim Portents as the clock starts wearing down.
So weird that we call them Grim Portents, but really they're just signifiers.
Sure.
Like, these are events that occur that let you know bad stuff is happening.
Sure. But I mean, it's a fun, sexy
name. It is a fun, sexy name.
But, the whole building shakes, or like strange noises, whatever. But they're great because when they happen, players are like, oh shit. It snaps them too. Suddenly the sky turns like an eerie purple to the west. And you're like, oh, fuck, that thing we didn't take care of. Like, we definitely didn't take care of that.
So in my D&D game, the Grim Portents were all the letters that Bob's character's sister was sending him. Everything's good. Everything's okay. Things are weird. Things are getting worse. Things are bad. That was
people are disappearing.
Yeah.
Mostly it's okay. Mostly.
They mostly come at night. Mostly.
There was some of that going on with the Chimera stuff too. More and more weird stuff just kept showing up. So you're like, why is this stuff all strange and out of whack, right? Like, you could go deal with it. They haven't dealt with it yet. They might at some point. Anyways, let's talk about clocks, time tests, and Cortex.
So, clocks are basically a test that's a race against time. The test has a number of beats until the stakes are realized. And when you make a test, it determines the number of beats that are used. If you make a test and you fail, like Gree does all the time, you use up 2 beats. If you succeed, you only use up 1 beat. And if you get a heroic success, the equivalent of a critical hit, then you not only succeed, but you also use no beats to accomplish that. And this ties to the theme of the game because Cortex is a heroic game, and there are times when the heroes are racing against the clock to achieve a particular goal. For example, most of the disasters that we deal with are on a set of clocks.
The Fire Cane of Kiersum.
Man, I love this mechanic. Yes. I love the mechanic in Cortex Plus. It works so well.
Once you define, like, oh, this is a time test of this many beats, go.
One of the advantages is that doing it that way means that the players don't have to necessarily do exactly what the GM tells them to. The players will say, I'm going to attempt to do X, Y, or Z. And if I succeed, I get closer to the success. But if I fail at what I'm trying to do, then it advances the clock because we use more time. And sometimes you can do something that might appear ineffectual, but the fact that you didn't use any time up still means that you might be helping somebody else or move the story forward.
It leaves space to build assets in the game without having to like directly affect the problem.
Which I think is important. And normally what I do when I set up these time tests is I will say something like, these are the problems you need to solve. This is a time test of this many ticks. And sometimes I actually put those signifiers, those grim portents, into, like, I will list like, oh, the fire cane is now 100 miles from shore. At only 2 ticks left, the fire cane has reached the shoreline. I will put those in so that narratively, as you are ticking, like as we're going through the ticks, certain things then start to appear.
And the advantage of that is that I think that the clock method allows for both a mechanical set of rules, but also allow for a lot of storytelling intermingled in there, so that you get a lot of role playing out of clocks when you're using them.
The thing is, it doesn't advance until you roll. So if suddenly you decide to have a dramatic discussion in the middle of whatever's, like as the fire cane's approaching, it's cool. That advancement thing pauses. You can have your cool dramatic moment between characters, a discussion, whatever, until somebody picks up the dice and rolls something. It sits and waits. And so it's really good for that thing that Chris loves, which is like blending this like impending doom, but also mixing in something like there's a deep discussion between 2 characters about trust or intimacy or whatever, while the fire cane is barreling down, and it still fits and works. And you haven't lost the mechanical tension, but you still have the breathing room to be like, oh, all we, you avoid the thing where it's like, oh, the only thing we can do is solve this problem right now.
In my opinion, it leads towards a more cinematic feel for your timed test, because you see that all the time, and especially in disaster movies, where you'll have all this shit's going on, but you still have these dense character moments where they're having this deep interaction, and this stuff is still going on, but it's not actually impacting the impending thing.
Flash, I love you, but we only have 14 hours to save the Earth.
Flash.
This movie sucked real bad.
Let's move on to breaking them down. Phil, tell me about breaking them down.
Breaking them down. All right, clocks. Let's do clocks. Clocks come in 2 forms. Internally. When they're internal, they are an organization tool for the GM. Internal meaning the screen, not inside the GM. But they are an organizational tool for the GM, allowing the GM to keep track of the progress of an event.
I ain't going to tell you where to tattoo yourself.
Yeah, it's fine. If you want to tattoo a clock to yourself, that is badass. Let me just tell you, if you are
your tongue, so it's internal.
Let me tell you, if you are a Blades GM and you have just tattooed a clock inside your arm that you can like tick off, you are a badass GM.
Sure, there you go.
Okay. But you don't have to show them that. It just means that sometimes a GM can just on paper keep track of a clock of like shit that's going down. Or externally, you can put the clock out on the table, which is what you're supposed to do in Blades, to create additional tension.
Can you feel the tension?
By the way, this is also the countdown die.
Yep.
The countdown die.
The countdown die is also an external clock. Okay, features of clocks. Clocks are tied to an event. So when the clock is full, it does something in the game. Clocks have a start and a finish. They're empty, they're full. They advance in some increment. There is some mechanic that drives how many wedges get filled or how many ticks get ticked or unticked, right? Because there's also the possibility in some clocks, not all clocks, that you can reverse the clock. And clocks can sometimes be halted, either permanently or temporarily. That's pretty much the basis of a clock. This is why you can adapt them to your game. Like, you only have to answer each one of those bullet points, right?
Did you talk about how they can be advanced in some increment? I don't know if
I said they're advanced in some increment based on the mechanics of your game, but could be narrative.
Or procedural.
I
mean, mechanical is procedural, but some people don't think of those two things as the same thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you can have a thing where just narratively you tick a clock. Like, that's my big die thing where sometimes I just turn, put
also, you guys wasted a bunch of time. Procedurally, I'm going to tick this thing. Or narratively, you did X. I'm going to tick this thing. Or mechanically, you failed this roll. I'm going to tick this thing. I can't think of any other reasons. Anybody else got one?
Fine.
Okay, cool.
I was going to mention one other game that actually has a bunch of clocks in it that comes from the PBTA space that also predates Blades, which was Headspace.
Oh, yeah. That game was built around that idea.
Headspace had a whole bunch of clocks.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, that's clocks. They're pretty straightforward.
Well, fronts.
Yep.
Fronts are mostly internal. They are a GM tool. I've already kind of like beat this pretty hard. So that's awkward. Anyways, they have a stake that comes true if the front is realized. It then has a few dangers that are associated with the stake. Each danger has a few events that are leading up to the danger being realized. Through play, the GM is going to decide when to advance through these events, which can lead to the dangers being realized and finally the stake being realized. Now, you can just attach a clock to these fronts and then it's not on the GM. It can be mechanical at that point.
Mhm.
That's headspace, by the way.
Mhm.
That's how headspace actually functions. Fronts, fronts can be mechanically driven. I just said that. So there you go. But it's sometimes it's either way. I used to believe that it could be mostly narratively, but really it's both. Like you should probably it's procedurally, narratively, mechanically. They all kind of work together these days. That's all I have to say about that. Bob, why don't you tell us about another show on Misdirected Mark Productions?
Sure. You need to check out Bonus Experience. Ray and Monica are two old friends exploring gameplay and design through the lens of diversity, while also sharing some of the dumbest humor gaming has to offer.
We try to compete, but we just can't.
No,
We try so hard.
in terms of dumb humor,
Yeah.
can only do so much.
So, Jerry, what play experience do clocks and fronts create?
Well, first of all, clocks and fronts are both countdown mechanisms. They both represent a progression towards some event. They share some of the same characteristics, which is why we're talking about both tonight. Both of them are there to create tension for the players.
Totally.
They're not a character tool, but they operate on player and game foci together.
Man, that's old school talk right there.
Very old
That is
school
some
talk.
Ooh,
primo misdirected Mark.
that's some layers of gaming. Oh,
That's
isn't
right.
that next week? I
Yes.
think that's next week.
Yes, they do.
Mm.
The thing is that in most cases, the characters are unaware of the clock or front, though they may see in-sign games of the clock's advancement. For example, the fire cane.
Yeah. uh-huh.
Every time something changed with the fire cane, as the clock counted down, the fire cane got worse.
So for people, again, for newer listeners that may not have been beaten to death with our layers concept, which you'll get to hear all next week, this idea is that clocks affect players. Like it can affect characters, but really what you're doing is you're affecting players that bleeds into characters.
Clocks affect setting.
Yes.
No, but what I'm saying is when you take a clock, when I take the clock
Yes,
down
because,
to the last
because
tick,
fronts affect setting,
sure,
and then events affect setting and players. That's the last thing.
yeah,
And characters.
right. What I'm saying is it's not your characters who see a 7 ticks on an 8 tick clock
Correct.
on the table. It's the players who see it. The characters will react based on how the players are feeling
Mhm.
about that.
Mhm.
Yep.
One of the ways you can create drama is to create those feelings in players and let it bleed through to their characters.
Yeah, I just think there's a deeper thing to it because while the clock itself on the table affects the player in the game foci, if it's a front, which is just a larger clock, and you have grim portents and events that occur from the clock ticking down, then that also affects the setting. So there's
Yeah.
another
Oh,
level to it.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to throw that out there so that we didn't get anybody telling us like, but what you said before, what you said was the X thing, and then
But
go ahead.
I think clocks are also a good way to get the emotional investment in the situation in a way of tension. We've talked a couple times about the fact that like it's not easy to create a game that has horror or fear in it or something. A clock on the table is going to elicit some of the similar emotions in a game that you want the players to feel. In a horror-based game or a thriller-based game, a clock will do a good job of reeling them in.
10 candles.
Yes, 10 candles. There you go.
The Jenga tower.
The Jenga tower is a
Yeah.
clock.
The Jenga tower is 100% a clock.
Yeah.
Yes.
That motherfucker is going to fall. You just don't know when.
Mm-hmm.
And does it create tension? Fuck yes, it does.
that is actually a clock without a set number
Yeah.
of ticks.
Oh, it's a set number. It's not a number you are aware of. Like, there is a certain.
Isn't that the definition of not a set number?
No, I mean, there's
It's
a finite.
it's a random number.
It is a random number and
Yeah.
it is a finite number. There is a finite number of polls. Mathematically, it probably can be figured out,
Sure.
but also if you make bad
I'm,
polls,
I'm with you, Bob. It's not a set
not
number.
infinite.
It's a random number within a set.
It is an unknown quantity.
the important part is that it is an unknown
Yeah.
quantity
Yeah.
because if you know how many ticks are on a clock, you know when not to panic, when to be concerned, and when to be really concerned. With the Jenga tower, you can't read the tower like you can read a clock. So in the beginning, you're like, yeah, it's probably okay. But the truth is, one bad pull and everything might go from this tower is really stable to this tower is really shaky very quickly. Or you play with a bunch of people who are actually pretty good at Jenga. This tower is probably going to last for a little bit.
By the way, games that use the Jenga tower are Dread and Starcrossed, and I'm sure
Yes.
there's others. There's a one that's based on Inception that I can't remember the name of. It's called Lucid. That's what it's called.
Or if you have to be playing at a convention where they have long tablecloths all over the place, and you go to make your move 3 minutes into the game and knock the entire tower down. All joking around, clocks are a good way to bring that tension into the game in a finite manner. So if you're a GM and you want to create some tension in the game to create some sense of threat or some sense of need, stakes, as we say, a clock is a very good way to do that in a visual way in front of the players, however you want to use it.
10 candles is a known clock.
Correct.
It has an extra component to it. the way you play it in the dark, the light level also is a mood adjust.
Yeah,
like
it's
it enhances,
atmosphere.
right? So it not only counts down, but it's counting down and it's getting darker. It's brilliant in the emotions that it inflicts upon the player.
For those who don't know what 10 Candles is, it is a game about the apocalypse on Earth, and you are trying to survive it, which you won't. You'll all die at the end. You know that going into it. So every scene you play out until somebody fails a dice roll completely, and then you snuff a candle. And then you start a new set of scenes until you snuff another candle. And then you are burning cards and burning index cards and putting in the thing until at the very end, the last candle goes out because the impending apocalypse has killed everybody.
The thing about that game that gets me every time is the opening action.
The recording.
Yes, you record a voicemail message, and it's the last thing about your characters. You play back the voicemail messages, the last candles go out.
As everything's out.
Just fucking like,
That's brilliant.
It's good. It's a good game.
so based on the games that they come from, clocks can be intra-session or intersessional tools. So meaning the clock can exist during the session and then it goes away, or it can persist beyond one session. It can persist beyond a story, or it can even be like a arc or a whole campaign. Like, again, this clock thing is so scalable.
Yeah, absolutely. Fronts, which are just larger clocks, are mostly inter-session tools that are often used to track events in an arc. Oh, look, call back to last week. Fronts represent things that are potential threats to the characters. They have a set of incremental events that lead towards some event that will be manifested when realized. We're just repeating ourselves at this point.
We're good.
The reason that they came up with the term fronts is because it's the idea of fighting on two fronts from like war. That was the point of it.
Well, this is a Chris Sneezak favorite, right? Like, you can solve this problem or you can solve this problem, but not both of these problems in this time period.
You know, until they split the party, and then sometimes they can solve both of those problems at great cost to themselves.
Sure, but there is nothing you love more than
The Batman choice?
Yes.
Yeah, of course I love the Batman choice. You're going to save them or them, and then we're going to save everybody. I'm like, all right.
Throw Gwen off the bridge.
The stakes are much higher now if you
I got a
fail.
missile going towards Bakersfield. I got a missile going towards LA. My mom was in Bakersfield.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about the problems that these cause.
Yeah, for the most part, clocks don't really cause problems in games.
No.
Like, when we talk about mechanics that you can just drop into other games, you could pretty much drop these in safely. The only things that you're going to run into is getting the right number of segments. You'll need a feel for this for your own game. If you put too few segments in the clock, it runs too fast and they may not be able to resolve things. If you put too many segments in the clock, it isn't really a threat. And you just really have to learn how to calibrate the right number of segments, and it's going to require some understanding of the mechanics of your game, the way you want to set up how clocks increment and things like that.
That's the tricky part. You'll have to, and some games don't have this built in, so you have to house rule some stuff.
Yeah, we had to actually, in the early sessions of Aux, had to calibrate the time test correctly.
Yes.
And I have a little formula for it. Like, I have a little formula that I use for figuring out how many ticks should be in a time test that we kind of calibrated, because I think it was Chris who brought it up. We were either running too hot or too cold. We were running too hot. They were ticking down too quickly. It needs to be, and I think it's something like the number of checks plus one more check or something.
Yeah, because I think that was the one where we had like a 4-tick clock, but there were 3 things we had to do. And so,
Which means we had to super succeed like 3 times to get
Exactly.
it done.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I basically look for is, it comes out to the number of ticks is the number of problems you have to solve. So if the problems are in our game, the genius ones where there's 2 rolls, then if it's like, say there's 3 problems that have to be solved, then that's 6. And then I usually add 3 more ticks to the clock.
Makes sense.
Like something like that. That's, I think
I
the
helped you
magic,
come up with the math. So
it was the magic number that I came up
I'm
with.
going to agree with you because
Yes.
I think I helped with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, the other problem that sometimes comes up, and it's not a huge problem, but it can be a bit in Forged in the Dark, is if the table gets full of clocks. All of a sudden you've got like 10 clocks on the table and you're trying to like manage them, you'll create a little
It's
lag.
the same thing with aspects
Yes, it's exactly the same thing.
or assets.
Yeah, yeah. If the table gets clogged up, it's just, you got to do some extra management.
Let's talk about hacks and wish lists now.
as far as hacks go, you can hack clocks or fronts into any game. All you need to do is first define the stakes, then establish how many ticks are on your clock, which I think Phil just explained a good way to look at that.
Yeah.
And then decide how the ticks advance or retreat based on the mechanics of your game. And then how you want to represent this at the table itself. You want
Yeah,
to put it
we
on a
just keep
card?
repeating ourselves because
Yeah.
we just keep jumping ahead.
But it's important though, because I think
It totally is. I
think
agree.
to put this together, you'll define the stakes, figure out your ticks, how you're going to advance or retreat, and then how to represent them. And probably the hardest thing in that is probably going to be, if the game doesn't have clocks already, is what mechanic you want to use to advance or retreat them. I think the Cortex as a good guideline is a good way to start.
Whatever your failure state is, you just advance a clock when somebody fails a roll. And then the better part is when you be like, yeah, you succeeded on that. What do you mean? I failed. Yeah, you totally succeeded on that. Let me just scribble in real here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, fronts are going to be very similar. First, you need to know what's the big bad thing that's going to happen. Then number 2, what are the dangers surrounding it? And number 3, what are the steps that are going to lead up to those dangers themselves?
Hey, remember last week when we were talking about arcs and try-fail cycles? Clocks are a great way to help with your try-fail cycle because, you succeeded, but you didn't like roll high enough because you have success with the complication in your game. There's your try-fail with the clock advancing.
There you go.
Right to the thing that is your middle part where you will you have your false victory or your false defeat. Because that clock can actually help determine your false victory or your false defeat. Just to combine this with an episode from last week, because why not? This stuff is all connected.
It's all connected.
It's all connected. Anyway, as for wish lists, I would love designers to put something like clocks or time tests into every game.
I mean, they're pretty much there these days.
Almost, yeah. But I mean, it's such a great tool in almost every genre. There's almost always a reason to have some sort of countdown chase or race against time. You should just have a generic system in your game that covers that thing because it is useful, universally useful.
Do you think we may have gone too far to say that the Jenga Tower is a clock?
Jenga Tower is not really a clock.
It's not really a clock.
It's a tension building tool.
It's a tension building tool for sure. Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
The candles in 10 Candles is absolutely
Totally, because it's the length of the game.
Jenga Tower is not really a clock because it has stakes. It does not have ticks. It has a way to count it down, right, by pulls.
Correct.
Eventually wears it down. But if our strictest set of clocks is that it defines a number of ticks before an event, that's the thing that isn't really true about Jenga Towers.
My hack, and I guess this is more of a front than a clock, is using hit points to increase threat level of an enemy. Basically, by using Grim Portents as the hit points are reduced. Like Bloodied was a great step towards that. What happened?
Do it.
How big is my puddle?
No.
Oh.
How do you know this character's...
He drops to one knee. He coughs up some blood.
What?
In our 4E game,
I used to do that all the time.
Bob would as soon as something became bloody, he'd he starts coughing up some blood. And then we all as players started doing it. Like when we got to Bloodied, be like, I dropped to one knee, I cough up some blood.
There were several tropes to my 4E game. That was one of them. And another one was my brothers will avenge me.
Yes, my brother. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. In our Spelljammer game last week, Wednesday, that guy that Mickey was fighting, because he got bloodied and he started getting bigger with red energy. So every time he lost more hit points, he kept getting bigger and bigger. Because I was basically using that as a grim portent to a front as he was getting closer and closer to 0 hit points. As you approach 0 hit points infinitely, you get infinitely bigger until you're at 0, then you die. There's some calculus for you, everybody.
Oh, that's like the Fat Boy mod in Unreal Tournament.
I felt like Bucky in that fight. Looking good, John.
That happened.
Just basically sat back. He was doing a good job, so I was like, I'm ready to jump in if he says something, but it was like a fight for honor.
Yeah.
So I'm just like sitting on the rock with I'm sitting on the rock with my maul, like looking good.
You know how hard it is to pull off a one-on-one fight in a D&D game?
He did great.
Thanks.
I figured, this is going to go a few rounds, then he'll signal and the free-for-all will begin. And I was like prepared for it. I'm like, it's fine. I'm sitting here like maul ready. Like as soon as it kicks off, I'm jumping off this rock and I'm smacking the first guy with a maul. And his choice of spells and the way he used them, and all of a sudden it's like he goes down and I'm like, all right, or I'll just sit on a rock for like. I know you sometimes worry about that as an aside. But I was like, hey man, that's the game. I fully expected he needed me and then he didn't. And well, them's are the breaks.
One-on-one D&D fights are hard to pull off in a satisfying way, but you just have to vary up how you attack.
And that game went down to hit point to hit point.
Yeah, because he was at 0, but he had an ability that let him like survive after 0, and then whacked him one more time. It was pretty good.
Took him out. It was a exciting fight.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice nail biter.
All right, Bob. What about you?
Yeah, so I'm with Phil. More clocks all the time.
More.
If you don't have them in your game yet, build them into your game. If you're sitting there designing a game right now, put clocks in it.
Yeah.
Clocks become your chase mechanic. And chase mechanics are hard.
It's your chase mechanic. It's your before the next crime mechanic. It's all of those.
So many things.
So many of those things.
It's before your ritual goes off mechanic.
All of the things.
Jerry.
My thing was I'd like to see more game designers implement clocks into games, but also explain how, when, and why to use them. So there's some guidelines for GMs. I think that number one, I think a lot of GMs could use the guidance. Number two, I think that if game designers do that, they're going to be explaining the desires of what their game should be doing, the intent of their game, and the way the gameplay should be going, and also will lead certain game designers to tell the players what kind of game they want to what they want to show. And I think it's all really good because I think it's a good usable tool.
All right, let's talk about Reflections. 6 years later.
6 years later.
6 years. Oh, man. I got a couple things to say. One, clocks, I use them all the time. They're part of my game regardless of system. And I modify them, iterate on the design, just to come up with interesting, clever, new ways for myself to be entertained by them. But, the basic clock is just there. Fronts, too. Like, fronts constantly used. And I talk a big game about, like, storytelling these days, like how to implement, like, more story, like movie script writing styled storytelling into games. But really, if you just put together some fronts and just keep pushing on them, you're gonna have enough tension and storytelling push that you don't even need to do any of that other stuff that I talked about. I mean, it's all good stuff, but if you just do that stuff, like, you're gonna have a pretty compelling game for the most part, because then you'll have setup, tension, and release.
That is the secret of life, my friend.
I walked into that one.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Man. All right, Bob, go ahead.
Yeah, so as a player, I love visible clocks. The first time a clock hit the table when I was a player, I was like, oh, what is going on here? I'm very tense all of a sudden. Like, there's a thing that's saying something is about to happen. Okay.
Dude, that fucking big die on the table. It's like, why is it at 2? What happens when it gets to 1? That's bad.
I love the big die.
Yeah, that's that sense of urgency that gets created by that visible clock coming out is chef's kiss.
Even more fun when they put the big die on the table. They don't start at 6.
Yeah.
3. Then you do something good, it goes to 4. Then you do something bad, it goes back to 3. Then it's like a game changer thing where you have to figure out what is he doing? What is the secret? Why is this thing moving?
You don't know the rules. Figure out the rules yourself.
That's right. In order to figure out the rules, you got to play the game.
You're breaking my balls. You're breaking my balls.
Jerry.
I just like clocks as a player and as a GM. I think they've become a great way to change story beats, to increase or relieve tension in the game. And they've been a great replacement for chase mechanics. I've seen so many different ways people have tried to implement chase mechanics. I've seen games that have 3 or 4 pages of rules on chase mechanics. And I've begun to realize that a simple clock can replace all those rules very quickly and make things very easy. And especially in games that don't have chase mechanics where suddenly something happens, because a good chase can often be a lot of fun in a game and change the beat of the story up real quick. They can be used for lots of things, but I think just replacing your chase mechanics with a clock makes things work so much easier.
Yeah, they really are good. They really are good for chases.
Phil.
I echo a lot of things you guys say, right? I still like clocks. I certainly, after Blades in the Dark came out, used them more. And at some level, I still use clocks. And of course, we talked about Cortex. I thought I would use fronts more back when we wrote this. Like, I was like, I'm going to use fronts forever. I didn't. Like, you just in retrospect, like I didn't. And it's not that there's anything wrong with them, just somehow didn't use them.
I wonder if that's 100% true. Now, you don't call them fronts, but your what's going on document is essentially a front, because it's what will happen.
You're not wrong, right? Like, the what's going on document often says, like, if nobody intervenes, this is what's going to happen.
You're not consciously thinking of them as fronts, but you probably have multiple.
So then I should base it. Then I think the better thing to say is I stopped using the structure.
Yeah.
But I don't think I lost the concept.
Correct.
There you go.
Yeah, like, I definitely don't write down like the signs and stuff, but I do, for my own internal logic, have like, okay, well, if no one intervenes, this is what happens, which is essentially a front.
As soon as you start writing that stuff down, which, because I don't write them down very much anywhere either, then you lock yourself into something and you can't be flexible. That's why I stopped writing them down. But that's why I'm always re-examining, like, okay, what are the bad guys going to do? What are the antagonists going to do to react to what just happened? If they have to react to anything, or is it just business as usual?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes if the players are exceedingly good, nothing happens. Our NBA game had this really, the Van Pyramid is a form of front, right?
Yep.
And for a while, my Van Pyramid hardly moved because the players had done such a good job of executing jobs that I was like, I don't think the vampires are really onto them. Like, I don't think they really know. There's an event that you guys don't know, which is how they initially got onto you, that you guys have never discovered. Like, there's a reason why they know who you are. But then one day they got real explosive. And then I was like, I just advanced the Van Pyramid by like 2 levels. And I was like, I'm a fucking pound you guys now. Like, you guys,
the vampire hit squad showed up.
Like, multiple vampire hit squads showed up while they were separated.
Yeah, we had done the classic split the party, and then we all got hit.
Yeah,
loads of fun.
You burned.
I went after some of them. I blew Bob's, not his hideaway, but his the person he goes to for comfort.
Oh, dead?
I blew her up.
Ooh.
Blew up
He
the
was-
bar.
He was walking home, and this
Ooh.
vampire looks at him from across the street and goes like this. And then it just blows out.
That's brutal.
And then he's caught in a city with like a Heat 5 trying to get out of the city. In fact, the mission is called The Vampire Strike Back. And it just, they had just,
How do you not call it that?
they did such a good job. They were under the radar. And then they got to this one adventure and they were like, we blow up this pharmaceutical building. Then we go out to the CIA, this ex-CIA black site. We burn that thing to the ground. And we leave the vampires a package because they were arriving by helicopter. They put a bomb on the landing zone in the farmland.
Mm-hmm.
So the helicopter came down. They blew that up. And I'm like, oh, you fuckers. Like, it's on now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we did a real nice job
the
of keeping
vampires
quiet for a
made-
while, but then
The vampires made one mistake.
They didn't kill Bob?
They didn't finish the job because we are about to go on a vampire rampage.
About to happen.
it was good.
Yes.
It was definitely good. But it was a, the Van Pyramid is a form of clock.
Mhm,
And it was time to just, narratively, because mechanically or procedurally, it didn't really,
Is it a clock? I'm just curious.
well, it has a fixed number of steps.
Correct.
It increments by narrative. Like you're told to go up, like as the players progress through the
I
conspiracy.
always thought it was a thing that they moved through and that you didn't move. Like you can have the Van Pyramid react to them.
Yeah, well, that's what I was doing. Like the Van Pyramid says things like make them like at the lowest level, like make them an offer to
Oh,
disappear.
Never. It is a narrative. It's a narrative. It's kind of like a narrative front.
Yeah, and then it tells you like at the
Okay.
upper levels, like go kill one of their sources of
Oh,
stability.
interesting. I forgot that was on the
Yeah.
on the Van Pyramid.
Well, there's the cost pyramid, right, which is the conspiracy.
Yeah.
And the Van Pyramid, which is how they respond to
Oh, it is
you
attacking. That's more of a clock front thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. All right, well, that's our conversation about clocks and fronts redone for the modern day because it was a long time ago when we did it.
long
Yeah.
time.
We hope you enjoyed this. If you want to tell us anything about your experience with clocks or fronts, we'd love to hear about it in our Slack room for life. You can also reach out to us on Twitter at Misdirected Mark. Cool. Let's move on to the conversation corner.
Booyah.
We doing one thing? Bob, you want to go
one
first?
thing. Yeah, so it's kind of a dual one thing. And no spoilers because not everybody's caught up. But today I caught up on Knives Out and Glass Onion. And
Both good.
what I have to say
Fantastic.
about this is kudos Ryan Johnson for your writing on both of these films because it is spot on. It's so good, so well done. The mysteries are good. The characters are amazing in both. The performances in both films by the actors, really, really good. The direction, the way that the film was cut with your nonlinear storytelling, you get to a certain point, you go back and you tell from a slightly different perspective or give more information, all of that stuff. It's very, very well done. And yes, make more of these all the time. It makes me actually want to go back and rewatch all the David Suchet, Hercule Poirot mysteries because I love those. I love those mystery movies. All those back in the day used to do very similar things.
It's so good.
Yeah.
And Benoit Blanc,
That character and the way Daniel Craig plays it,
oh,
it's a great character.
love the gentleman detective.
Yeah.
Like so good.
I honestly could see them doing like a dozen of these if Johnson and Craig want to keep doing them because you don't have to worry about any other cast because you're bringing in new people all the time because
Yes.
you're in different settings with different characters. Those two people, write another one, direct another one. Daniel Craig, come back, please, and just keep doing
I
it.
also need a Muppet mystery.
Yep.
It could be a Christmas special where something's lost for Christmas and then Benoit Blanc comes on to help find it. Like that's all I need. I need that moment. Like I would be 100% okay with that.
So we can see Miss Piggy be awkwardly hitting on Benoit
Oh,
Blanc.
yeah,
Sure.
absolutely.
Yes.
Oh,
To no avail.
Yes.
to no avail.
To no avail.
Yeah.
The only complaint I have about the entire thing, one complaint, Glass Onion should not have been called a Knives Out mystery. Like you should have called it a Benoit Blanc mystery.
I
Yes.
agree.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Knives Out was specifically the first movie, and it was called that for a reason, right? He even says the words Knives Out. People are all Knives Out. Yeah.
Some marketing person probably thought it was a good idea.
Somebody
and
at the
then-
studio.
It was a bad idea. But I get
Blew
that
that.
I get that Knives Out is more recognizable than
Yeah, do you know that I realized that it was because they said a Knives Out mystery? I'm like, oh, it's a Ryan Johnson movie. It's probably got Benoit Blanc in it. I'll probably go watch it. So, I mean, it worked on
Yeah,
me.
the connection was made, but
Oh, yeah.
it would have been better to call it a Benoit Blanc.
late
movie.
in the future. That's what it'll be called.
Hopefully, we'll see.
In the future, it's going to pan out that they'll just call it the Benoit Blanc Mysteries, and it'll just be
in DVD form. It'll be the Benoit Blanc collection.
correct.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then I'll buy them.
And then after you do like, a dozen movies and then Daniel Craig's too old to do anymore, he doesn't want to or whatever.
Get somebody else.
Then you do a series on like the BBC or whatever,
Oh, God.
the Benoit Blanc
Please.
Mysteries.
Like,
and you have like a whole
please.
10 seasons of
I will sign up for BritBox if they start making them like on BBC. Like,
All right, let's move on. Jerry, what's your one thing?
My one thing is our NBA game this weekend, partially because I hadn't gamed in like 3.5 weeks and we hadn't recorded that much. So it was nice to get together with everybody, hang out, see everybody after the holidays. It was a very, very good game in which we set about discovering some new clues and also deciding exactly what we were going to do to put a serious boot to the groin of the vampires. And we are about to, if things go well, and with my dice rolling, there's no guarantee they will go well. And Nice Black Agents is not as forgiving as Cortex when I screw up.
Groin, huh? Not throat.
Oh, no.
If your throat of the vampire would be more
we're
effective.
going to hit these vamps right in the tenders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because got to remember, fire cleanses all. So that worked really well.
Uh-huh.
And, flamethrower to the crotch worked really well too. So that,
bioweapons even better.
yeah. And so we if things go well, we have a very good chance of wiping out all vampires on Earth,
Nice.
which, will make up for the fact that they blew up Bob's safe house.
Kill
And
them
his
all
and
like
his,
God
and his
so them.
friend.
It could be good. It could go completely sideways as always.
It's going to happen. If I have to ride the bomb down from the plane like Slim fucking Pickens, I'm going. It's
Wow, that's a hell of a reference you made, my
a
friend.
deep cut, kids.
That is a deep cut.
Go look it up.
You
Well then.
youngins are not going to know that reference.
Just Google Slim Pickens riding a bomb.
Yep.
I'll tell you.
All right then. Okay.
Okay, Chris.
Mine. I love Willow. It's not perfect, but I do
It's
love
fun.
watching it.
Mhm.
It is a D&D party going on a quest.
Yes.
And that's pretty much all I got to say about
And
it.
we're like 4 hours away from the season finale.
I know. I can't wait to go watch it tonight at work. It's going to be fantastic on my lunch break.
I
Looking
don't
forward
think
to
I
it.
saw last week's episode. Come to think of it. So it should be good.
Episode 7 was pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. It's a weird episode, actually, but I really appreciated what they did. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, good. Finally, we got the training montage. With Willow, like, I keep thinking, like, we now have a lot of fantasy adventure stories that we can, like, pull on and whatnot. Because I love me some Vox Machina, and season 2 is coming out on the 20th, which I think this will be out by the time that starts releasing. So
I started that finally.
Vox Machina, I love that cartoon. It's so funny and like emotionally impactful at times. I love cartoons that and TV shows that do that. Like, oh, this is hilarious. This is, oh, you just gut punched me. Okay, all right. But when it comes to like those kind of shows, like Willow, Vox Machina, there's the Witcher Blood Origin. Not perfect. It's like a B. It's fine. Like I enjoyed it. There's a bunch of TV shows now that you can go watch that are like fantasy adventure stories and enjoy them. Like I'm enjoying this world that we live in right now. Phil.
I finished Kaleidoscope.
Oh, I gotta go watch it.
I really liked it. I will say this. I do not think that the order that I got Kaleidoscope in is my preferred order. And I think I could build an order that I would like better based on now that I know what all the episodes are. It is a classic heist. All the ways that a good heist occurs. Giancarlo Esposito is fucking amazing in it.
I don't really know anything he's not amazing in,
Correct.
so-
But he slays this one as well. Maybe people don't know how this series works. So this is a series from Netflix that has 8 episodes. Each episode is named after a color. And you can watch them in any order, although they say that you should watch the white episode last, which I will attest to. I think the white episode needs to be last or second to last in the layout of the episodes. But you can watch them in any order, and you will get a slightly different viewing experience. And some people have made different orders. So like if you want to watch it chronologically.
Wait.
Go ahead.
Stop. What we should do, the other rest of us, I think we should all watch it.
Yeah.
And then I think we should write down the order that we think it should be in.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And then we should compare.
Sure, that's fine. So I will tell you this.
Is anybody else here going to watch Kaleidoscope?
I am.
I'll watch it. Yeah.
Okay, I think that's what we should do.
Okay, I think that'll be fun.
I think it'll be a great time.
I've got
So
to watch Glass Onion first, but then I'll watch Kaleidoscope.
Okay.
So there's some published on the internet. So like you can watch it chronologically. And they just tell you the order of the episodes to watch
Mm-hmm. Don't
chronologically,
tell us.
which is fine. I'm not going to tell you, but it's also obvious once you start watching the
Sure,
episodes.
yeah.
Because each episode tells you after it reveals tells you the color,
Mhm.
it will tell you where in the chronology it fits.
Makes sense.
But then there's like another one. Somebody made a Tarantino version. So if you want it to be like a Tarantino movie, because like if you think
That's
about
fun.
Reservoir Dogs,
Pulp Fiction too.
Yeah.
where it's all out of sequence, you can order it that way.
Hateful Eight has a bit of that going on.
Yeah, I have to sit with a pencil and paper and figure out my order. But the order I got it from Netflix, I did not dislike. but I think that I would change 1 or 2 episodes and would have enjoyed it like even more. But each episode is very solid. But knowing that they're all interchangeable, you have to just kind of go in open, like mind open. Like you're not going to understand everything in an episode. And you just have to understand that there's probably another episode that fills in things.
Sure.
Depending on where you are.
That's okay.
I have a strategy now in my head when I'm going to watch it in. So, okay.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell anybody.
But totally fun. Totally fun. Well, and I mean, it looks good. Like the quality was really good. I thought the characters were excellent. And as a fan of heist movies, it tickled all my heist spots. Like it had all the things I needed in a heist, a twist, betrayals, like all of those things.
I'm fascinated by just the concept,
Me too.
the amount of writing and editing that has to be done to get it so that you can watch it in any order.
It's neat.
Just baffling to me.
It's neat. Like it was, I finished it and I was like, oh, I'm so glad I paused watching Lucifer, like went over and watched all the episodes. And I was like, oh, I'm so glad I did this. Like it's good.
All right. Well, that's our episode for this week.
One more thing.
Go ahead.
Not that he's going to listen, but a quick shout out to game designer Ken Hite
For surviving getting shot.
for surviving getting shot. Whew, if you haven't heard the story, it's on Twitter, but Ken,
Thank God you're alive.
thank God you're alive. Get better.
Yep.
Whew, that was a harrowing story.
All right. Well, that's it. That's the episode. So I hope you enjoyed this. By the way, let us know your Kaleidoscope order either on Twitter or on the Misdirected Mark Slack. We want to know what order you watch them in.
Cool,
All right.
cool.
Do some Patreon shout outs, Bob.
All
Do
right.
it.
So
Do
big
it.
thank yous to Ryan Magala, Heptalema, Michael Draper, Cubano, Alice Kira, Jim Fitzpatrick, Brantley Harris, Steve Radabaugh, Rory McLeod, and Ninjabi. And thanks to everybody for listening.
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can get more content like this at misdirectedmark.com, where we've got a bunch of podcast episodes
Whole bunches.
on various shows going back whole bunches of years. It's a lot, guys. It's a lot. And if it's not enough for you for what's on the website, join up on the Patreon and you'll get access to the secret stock room where we keep all of the episodes. All of the episodes.
Super secret stash.
Yeah. If you want to, the infamous drunk episode. That is an episode, right?
Episode 2.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in episode 500.
Episode 2. That changed everything. I was like, well, time to get a format and like do a good job with the show.
Anyway, you can find them all back there as part of the Patreon. That's
Soon.
patreon.com.
That is soon. It'll probably be post 500, but yes.
Yeah. Patreon.com/MMP.
All right. And this buttload of episodes includes some other shows in the Misdirected Mark Network, such as They're a Super Geek, Bone Storm Obsidian, Pandas Talking Games, The Gnome Cast, Bonus Experience, the all-new Thaco with
I
Advantage,
don't know that it's new anymore.
and amazing back episodes of She's a Super Geek. If that still isn't enough content for you, I suggest checking out our sibling podcasts, Tabletop Bellhop, The Knights of the Night, GM Mastermind, and Mastering Dungeons.
I got a question.
Yes.
Is like 6 months enough to not be new anymore?
What number episode are they on?
11.
They just stopped being new.
Okay.
10. 10 was
Yeah.
10 was that
Has
was
it-
my
has it been
arbitrary
6 months
that was-
already?
That was my arbitrary number in my head was 10. You got 10 episodes, you're not new anymore.
That means you survived baby podcast steps.
Yeah, like you're able to breathe on your own.
Yeah.
Like
You're not newborn podcast now. You're toddler podcast. And
So
toddler casting.
How do people leave us feedback, Phil?
Yeah. Do it the old-fashioned email way. You can just send us an email to mmp@misdirectedmark.com.
That
after
is
their
true.
clocks fill up,
Yeah.
Oh, see, you did my shtick.
Yeah.
Thanks.
somebody had to help
Once
you.
your clock fills up, leave us some feedback. Thanks. You can also hit us up on Twitter. The show on the network is at Misdirected Mark. He's Robert M. Everson.
Yep.
I don't know why I'm pointing because we're not filming this. GM Gerrymander,
Hey.
The Light 101,
Where you get your smooth jazz all day long.
and I'm DNA Phil.
Hans, put the gun away. This is radio. You remember that Patreon we mentioned just like about 25, 30 seconds ago with the buttload of episodes?
Mhm.
If you want to support us and the other shows from Misdirected Mark Productions, you can do that at patreon.com/MMP. We would greatly appreciate it. Your patronage is going to get you access to the after show podcast, our show notes, the Bamboo Lounge podcast, and sometimes way back in the day we used to do it, and hopefully sometime again in the future there will be some special releases.
Yeah, like I did put in the Slack room the CD cover that I made for Dungeon Delights from last week, which has the boy
Did
band
you make 'em?
cover. I didn't make them.
Yeah.
Midjourney made them.
Midjourney
Chat GPT came up with it, and then Midjourney made them.
Chris shepherded them across the line.
I just photoshopped it into a cohesive thing. I had to put it on. I had to go find like a jewel case.
It did look good.
Put it on
did
there,
look good.
and then put it on a fake table.
Gotta love it.
Oh man, it's even got like the inside cover and like the CD. Like I put the picture, another different picture on the CD and cut it out, so it looked like it was like old school. Like when you would have like, oh, it doesn't quite match up when it's in the case anymore. I did it on purpose.
Awesome.
We'll have to add one more song now, which is Plays.
Plays. No, that. Anyways, if you want to see that, it's in the Slack room. This has been a Misdirected Mark production, which is the media arm of Encoded Designs. I will say, mic drop.
We out.